Hi, the time is 10:34 p.m. Today is Thursday, November the 26th, 2020, and at least in the United States, it's a holiday. It's Thanksgiving, and this is a quick recording that I'm doing. So let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. Obviously, on the channel that you're on, you're probably on either you're on the channel, and if you're not on that channel, you're probably on my other channel, Copperhead. Is C as in cat, 0, PPER, H, 3, A, 4. The 4 is being used as a D, alright? So I'm gonna try and make this live stream, or this audio recording very quick. Like, I need to try to get it done under 14 minutes because I haven't activated the live stream capabilities on the channel. So anybody that knows, you only get to upload videos that are like 15 minutes long. Like, they have to be at least like a minute less than 15. So like 14 and a half like minutes. Alright. So the purpose of this recording, I'm gonna talk about, like, the main topic is I'm gonna say more to like PlayStation, right? But it's actually about Xbox and PlayStation, or Microsoft Xbox and Sony PlayStation, right? Like all that stuff that's going on with the games right now, the consoles that are not being received, they're not being delivered, or they're out of stock. That's a scam. It's a scam that they do in business too. Those consoles are competing right now. They're competing with the Stadia console that came out a while back ago, and they know that it's like them releasing the console right now. They pretty much just kind of like rushed into getting it done. So as crazy or like unbelievable as it's gonna sound, I was working on the Stadia concept, the way that they're running the video games for Stadia. I had actually been working on that since like 2000. Well, I'm not gonna be specific to it, but I've been working on it way before, like years before the Stadia came out. Alright, and there's like how do they say, paper trails online, that can prove it, that I was like, pretty much I threw out the idea out there to other like online users, and pretty much they seen that it was either they seen that it was a possible way to run a game, or they like figured that, oh, alright, somebody's already working on this, and they pretty much rushed to create it, right? Like they rushed to get that system up and going. And before like the Stadia actually like I guess went on sale or premiered, there was like several like online attempts to create that. But the thing about that is that you don't need to buy it like Stadia. Obviously, to some level you do, right? Unless you know how to connect the controllers to your phone. Like, I'm not gonna specify too much on the specs, how it works. All right, but just keep that in mind. All right. So the Stadia system, they created the Stadia system, and PlayStation and Xbox are running under the same concept. Steam, I think Steam on like computers, they're running under the same concept, except that they have there's a reason why that's like the next generation of consoles, right? And pretty much PlayStation 5 and Xbox kind of like had to rush into production, or supposedly production, to try to compete with you know that company Stadia, that pretty much like premiered I'm gonna say newer technology. There is a good side to it, and there's like a dark side to it. Alright, the good side to it is that it makes it harder for like hackers to hack into the systems, because they don't have actual systems. So like if you're playing the game online, they can jailbreak the console because they don't have access to an actual device. Everything's being kind of like reverse live stream to you. So you know how you live stream onto like the platforms. Well, they're pretty much live streaming the video to you. The data is being downloaded to you. To your site. You're using their you're using their servers from their database, and it's easier for them to monitor that all that. At the same time, if anything will happen like with hacks and stuff, then they're able to pinpoint it to be like, oh, it has to be a developer. Like even now, though, the reality is that even now in the past generation consoles, it's always a developer. It's a developer or somebody within the company. So anybody that's not familiar with the story, there's a story that's supposed to be this, like, true story, right? And like I wasn't aware of that, individual group, but I was aware of how they were getting it done, exactly the way that story goes. That's exactly the way that, over the years I have been, like, I'm gonna say, chatting with people online about that concept, and that's the way they do it. So pretty much the developer, he gets his hands on, like, dev kits, developer kits, and they sell them under, like, either they give them to family members to sell them, and they start looking for people that are interested to buy one. So pretty much, you buy one and you see the benefits and perks that you get from having that. So pretty much the only thing that you're getting is kind of like you're getting extra perks. So you're paying for a developer kit, but in reality you're just paying for them to unlock, like, the full game, the full functions that pretty much eliminate the purpose of the game, right? Because then there really isn't no reason for you to play it if you have kind of, like, I'm gonna say, no goal, or no, like, I'm gonna say, obstacles in the video game to. But some people, they get into it because in the modern gaming industry, since everything's online, they know they're playing with real players. So a lot of people, trolls, they get off of that. They get off of, like they get off of pissing off people online. Like, that's why they do it. So even though they're not playing the video games to play the video games, they're just playing the video games to annoy and frustrate other players that are online, trying to actually play the video game. So a lot of it happens. A lot of all that stuff that they do is they usually do, like, on GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I think the one that they do is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. But there's other games that they do it, alright? So anybody that's not familiar with the concept or the story, is you can search up Xbox Underground, and it's a group of, like, players that, you know a developer person, or somebody connected to a developer person, got their hands on a bunch of dev kits that supposedly they were supposed to be destroyed, or whatever, and they started selling them on the market. Unofficially they started selling them on the market, but it's a scam. Like, it's an official thing that they do. They did the same thing with, like, the SCUF controllers, right? So Xbox created, like, the Xbox controller design is way more efficient than the PlayStation controller. So if you haven't never tried it, they sell them. So a lot of you know them as SCUF controllers, or like, I think, like, 2 years ago, they came out with those really expensive PlayStation controllers that were supposed to be more authentic. But the thing about that is that they they tend to not allow the companies certain features to the controller, because they want their product to sell too. So they make it so that no matter what, you're always dependent on having their, like, so let's say you lose your control, and you buy a aftermarket controller, they make it so that you have to go and buy an official controller to use certain functions. And that's kind of like a thing that they do. If you were, like, a tech savvy person, or like a person that knows about the tech, you'd probably be able to modify it yourself. And that's what they do. That's what other gamers do that know how to do all that. So the story that's going on with all the PlayStation stuff, like, supposedly PlayStation selling for like $1,000 and stuff like that. If it's true, it's kind of like nonsense because anybody that knows about all that stuff, like a computer person, will tell you that a PlayStation over $1,000 is kind of like you're wasting your money, right? Obviously, console is for luxury, but anything above, like, I'm gonna say like $500 for a console is kind of like it's kind of like a rip off, right? Ask any computer person that knows about computers. You get a decent gaming computer for around $500 or probably like less. Let's say, depending on the game that you're playing. Like if you're playing like PUBG or something like that, you could probably run it on a $400 to $500 computer. Obviously, if you're using it for other stuff, it's gonna take up the memory, so you might not be able to. Over time, you might not be able to, right? But that's a good starting one. Like if you want a decent computer, like I recommend you get a computer for like at least $700. $700, and the thing about that is the thing about buying a computer is that it gives you room for expansion, right? Depending on the kit that you buy, you have extra room for expansion, and even if you don't have the room within the desktop box, you're able to add to it. All right. So the thing about the consoles is that they create a specified limit on the console that pretty much they have the idea to the idea or more like the plan to be like, all right, they're gonna be running that console for like at least 10 years, and they set their limits, you know, to make sure that all video games that they create have to be within those specifications. So then they know that those games will only be running on those systems, right? So that's the difference between when they don't release certain games on, like, let's say if they release a game for PlayStation and they don't release it for Xbox, that's the reason why they do like that kind of stuff. All right. And all that stuff with the returns, like FedEx and UPS not delivering and all that, those are like false claim insurance. That's like a false claim insurance scam that they do. And chances are that if they don't deliver by tomorrow, which is Black Friday, chances are that the PlayStation and the Xbox are probably not gonna deliver. They're not gonna deliver anything, and they're just gonna cancel. They're gonna say that because there's too much, like, um side hustlers, or like thieves, or whatever they want to call it. You know, too much corruption within the process of selling. They're gonna have to cancel it, and then later on, like, I already know what they're gonna do. Later on they're gonna attempt to sell it again, but then they're gonna do it under the same, you know, I'm gonna say they're gonna do something different later on. As the story develops, I'm gonna do another live stream explaining what they're gonna do. All right. So once again, this is me, Michael, on the recording. This is a quick recording, so it's already like at the 13-minute mark. So I'm gonna end the recording for right now. If you find this interesting, I have more detailed live streams on the channels. So you go on Facebook and Copperhead, and you'll be able to find a more detailed live stream on there. All right. So it's me, Michael, once again, saying hi to you and happy holidays to the people that celebrate it. And if you don't celebrate it, well, have a good day anyways, and I'll see you on the next recording. All right, later.